when I was doing my order flow training, I was told that think of these initiative candles as somebody who's at the airport, who does not have a ticket, but goes to one of those counters, like your Indigo counter or a Vistara counter, and tells them, I'm willing to pay you the price, just get me a seat onto this flight because I have to go from Pune to Delhi, and just give me a place anywhere. I'm willing to pay whatever price it is. That is a market order for you. Now, why does this person do it? Because he's got an agenda in Delhi. He wants to fly from Pune to Delhi for a conference, for some reason, for a family thing, for whatever he's doing it. But he's got an agenda, he's got a plan, right? The casual trader is not going to go and walk into Indigo counter at the airport and say, give me a ticket at whatever price. If he has a plan to go Delhi, he'll book 25 days in advance. And then he's going to go. But the man in a hurry is going to pay whatever price is to be paid to get onto that seat. And that is the definition of a market order. They pay whatever price is needed to pay because they realize that this market is short and wants to go down. So they are in a hurry to go down. And all these sellers, they entered around this 25,700. In fact, they got a second chance to enter again at 25,700, and the market dropped 700 points lower to about 25,000 and even below. But if you just take a minute and you start watching all of this again and again and just let it sink in, you go one level down, this suddenly starts making infinite sense to you, because what the market orders are the drivers of price action, and just locating where these market orders are in a bar is the key to all that you need to do in order flow. The market order helps move price faster. Now, why do I say that? Because the market order adds momentum to the existing demand and supply already there, and it helps move price further up away. And generally speaking, when we talk in terms of market orders, we get to know that these traders who put markets are generally, and I'm saying generally speaking over here, are generally the kind of people who know what they are doing. They are not people randomly trading, and they are armed with a certain set of information which tells them that I want to get into this market now, and I want to get into this market quickly. And because of that, we say that price moves faster when there is a market order. Now, in an order flow chart, you really do not need to get into the details of why it is a limit order or why it is a market order.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, guys. A quick sound check. Great. So let us start with the weekly charts, and what we are going to do today is do a review of the futures weekly profile charts. We have done the spot weekly charts many times, but we can also get many important cues from the futures weekly profiles also. So we have on screen the Nifty futures weekly profile, and this weekly profile is different from the spot. Why? Because in futures we follow the settlement cycle, which is from Friday to Thursday in Nifty futures. So this weekly chart is from 25th of October to 31st of October. What I'm going to do is show up the previous week's profile, and then we will have a look at what we have done in the current week and how this weekly profile helps us to point out important cues and what the auction is doing on the higher time frame. Because this week has not been easy in the sense each day has been different. It has not been a continuous one way auction. So which is why it was more important for us to have the bigger time frame in mind while uh, sitting for the day at open. So what we have, as I mentioned, we have the Nifty futures weekly profile from Friday to Thursday. So today we have completed this week's settlement. So we will have a fresh weekly profile chart end of the day today, which will be our reference for the coming weekly settlement, which will be from tomorrow to the coming Thursday. So what have we done in the weekly profile, which closed on 31st of October? You can see it is a nice balanced profile, and it has come after this trend down. We had a trend down profile in the week of 18th to 24th of October. We can see that. And then we have formed this nice balanced profile on this week. So our takeaway for the current week, which was starting from Monday after the Diwali holiday on Friday, was this VPOC, which is 24,400, which is also the rollover point which we have already discussed in Monday's session. So this was our important reference, and we were bearish below this and below this weekly value area low, and we would have been bullish above this and above this weekly value area high. So what have we done in this week? What I'll do is I'll just unmerge these profiles so that we can take it day on day, and we can see how the weekly profile helps us to understand what we are doing on the daily time frame. So this is the Monday's profile. What we did on Monday was, this 1st of November is the Mahurat Day session, so that we can completely avoid and ignore, and that is complete inside this narrow range profile in that. So what we do on Monday, what we did on Monday was we made a move away from this POC to the downside. We broke below the weekly value. We even broke below these lows, and we left a big initiative selling tail. So it was definitely an open drive down, and the volumes were also good, and it was looking as if the auction is beginning to imbalance after the balance it had in the previous week. And we went on to make new lows till the D period, fresh lows of every TPO. But what happened was we left similar lows. So when we get similar lows, two TPOs having the same or similar lows, it is showing us that the downside is getting exhausted. It does not mean that it will get reversed, but it definitely tells that the auction is got too short. The inventory is got too short. So that is the reason we made these poor lows and we went on to close at the POC. So nonetheless, the value was completely lower. So on Monday, this was a B-shaped profile with a close around the POC. But we had this selling tail as our reference, and we were way below the previous week's value. So it was still a bearish close, and we were looking to go short once we get a fresh signal. So what happened the next day was we made an open auction in range. We opened in this value of Monday, and we made a test of this extension handle. And when we tested that extension handle, we left a typical seaside which failed. And this was also a failed auction. This was a failed auction at 24154. So once we got this failed auction at an important selling reference, it looked as if we are going to resume the down move and we can repair this poor lows of Monday. So we got a failed auction at an important point, and we even made new lows in E and F. But then again, just like how what we did on Monday, we formed similar lows in the F and G period. So this was not a good signal to stay short. So this was telling us that although the supply did come in at the POC of previous week, the supply was not adding in this lower zones. So this led to a big short covering move, and it also got in some buyers. Once we negated this FA, failed auction is very important in market profile. We give a lot of importance. So when once a failed auction gets negated, we definitely, and we have a very simple view about the failed auction. We are bullish above a failed auction and bearish below a failed auction. So till the time we were below this failed auction, we are looking for more downsides, and the 180R and the 280R would be the objectives. But once we got above this failed auction, you can see how we remained above this. The J was right at that level, and we stayed above this failed auction. This became a support level. It started to show us change of polarity. So this 24154 will still be an important reference going forward. And what we did on Tuesday was formed a neutral extreme profile with the POC shifting to the top 24292. So this POC was our reference for the next session, with this VWAP being the important support zone. So what we did on 6th, which is yesterday, is you can see how this will help in evaluating what we are doing on the weekly time frame, and how the weekly value gave us the probable targets. So what we did, we opened above this POC. We made an attempt to go back lower. We opened higher, but the attempt to go back lower took support right at this weekly value area low. We did not tag this POC of previous session, so that was telling us that this is bullish. So this was more an open rejection reverse chart, or an open test drive, you can say, where we opened, tested lower and came back in. And what we did was we completed the 80% rule in this weekly value. This 24 weekly POC of 24400 was an important reference, and once we took that out, it was very clear that the auction was bullish. So on the shorter time frame, and what we went on to make multiple range extensions higher, and it looked as if we will form a trend day, but you can see where we stalled in the K period. It was right at the selling tail which we left in the previous week's profile. So you can see how these highs were stalling right at a previous supply point. So this is where the market profile shows us the structure, and it becomes very clear visually also of which zone we need to book out if we are long, and which zone we can look for fresh supply to come back in. So although this was a trend day up, this responsive selling tail which we left in K was a sign that the buyers may be losing control, because it came at a previous supply point, and we closed around the POC. So for today, this POC was our reference, and we had to stay above this POC and take off this tail to remain bullish for more upside probe. Whereas on the downside, this VWAP was the first support, along with this uh, DTPO's VWAP of 24449. So what we did today was we opened below the POC. So now in market profile, we give lot of importance to the POC on all time frames. So once we are below a POC of previous day, the immediate bias for the intraday will be on the downside. And what we did today was we completed the reverse 80% rule in this weekly value. You can see how yesterday in the initial balance we made a clean up move, completing this 80% rule on the upside. And today, when we opened below this POC and we failed to get back above, and once we got back into this weekly value, we left a selling tail at the VWAP, which was an important reference, and we left an extension handle at that important zone of 24440 from yesterday. That was a buying IB, 30-minute IB low. We had got an IB signal on the 30-minute there, and that also got broken with an extension handle, and we went on to swipe this weekly value. But what we did was we stalled right at this POC. We were not getting enough supply around this POC level for it to extend further down. So what we have done today is form a B-shaped profile, and this was the end of the week. Weekly settlement got over today. So what does the weekly profile look like, and what are the references we need to take forward? So for tomorrow, this VWAP of today, which is at 24369, would be one important reference, the first hurdle on the upside. Why? Because this today profile has got an initiative selling tail, and we also have an extension handle. So till the time this VWAP is not taken out, the auction would be uh, controlled by the sellers, because we got a RS on 6th, and then we've got an IS today. So we have an RS plus IS on even on the market profile setup. So unless we don't get above this VWAP, we are looking for more downside. Yes, this POC will have to be broken by fresh sell side volumes, which we will have to look for tomorrow. And because we have an event which is lined up, we have the Fed meet tonight, I think. So for in response to that, we may get some initial volumes at open tomorrow, but we will need to see how we play out and what the order flow shows us. So till the time we do not take off this VWAP with IBs, initiative buying signal, we are not bullish in Nifty futures. On the downside, a break below this could get us to test this important VWAP of the neutral extreme 24150, and then the poor lows of these 2 days could be repaired. So I'll just get back to the weekly profile and see how the weekly profile is shaped up for Nifty this week, Nifty futures this week. So you can see I'll combine this because this is also included in this weekly settlement. So this is the weekly profile, and what it has done, we have formed an elongated profile with both range and value overlapping previous profile. So even the range is exceeded both the upside and the downside. Even the value is overlapping on both sides. So what we need to watch out for is this POC where we have closed 24281, I think is the close. So this POC would be the immediate reference. And as I pointed out, that 24368 VWAP from yesterday would be the upper reference. And then we have the selling tail of today, which will be the reference, and the POC from yesterday, which has not been tagged today. Whereas on the downside, we remain weak below these two zones on the weekly profile, and if we accept below this weekly value area low, then we are looking for more downside and repair of these poor lows of this week. So this is how we are placed in Nifty futures, and this is how we this weekly setup, weekly profile, having a uh, check of the weekly, what the auction is doing on the weekly time frame, helps us to get some important insights. So not to forget, this 24400 remains the rollover point. So on the broader time frame, which is the November series, as long as we stay below this, we are looking for downside. Only above this, we are looking for upside. So we did make a probe above and we have left a tail at the top. So as long as we are closing below this on a daily basis, the probe in Nifty futures could be on the downside. So this is how we'll have to mark our levels and take the current next weekly settlement and see how we open compared to this POC. So this is as far as the Nifty futures is concerned, the weekly profile. Now let us move on to the Bank Nifty futures and see what we have done. So Bank Nifty futures is little different from Nifty futures settlement wise. So in spot, we take the calendar week, which is from Monday to Friday for both Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. But in futures, we take the settlement cycle. So in Nifty futures, it is from Friday to Thursday. In Bank Nifty, it will be from Thursday to Wednesday. So we completed the weekly settlement cycle yesterday in Bank Nifty, and today was the start of a fresh weekly profile. So I would come to the previous weekly profile in a bit before we see what Bank Nifty futures has been doing over the last 4 weeks. So we can see clearly that the Bank Nifty weekly value is overlapping. So on the higher time frame, the Bank Nifty is range bound. It's range bound, and how do we mark the range? How do we mark the extremes? So there's a very important feature which helps us in the higher longer time frame charts, is to show us clearly where the extreme levels could be. So as you can see, I have marked one red dotted line and one green dotted line in Bank Nifty, and this was marked when we closed last week. So I had marked this after the Diwali day, where I was checking the charts on Sunday. So why was these marked? Because here you can see this is a zone of singles. This is a scene of crime, 51232, and this is Bank Nifty futures of November. And if I can recall, 51232 is exactly the spot monthly POC of October. So this is how the references overlap of spot and futures, and which is why it is important for us to be aware about what the important levels are on both. So this was the scene of crime because this was an extension handle which got negated. So on the downside, this was one reference, and on the upside, this was an initiative selling tail which we had in the week of 17 to 23rd October, which was at 52720. So the weekly profile value was overlapping. We made an attempt to move away from this 3-week overlapping value, but we got rejected. We did make lower lows, but immediately we got back into the weekly value and we closed right at this POC. And the rollover point for November is at 52288, 52288. So which is where we closed last week. This was 30th of October. We still had one day remaining before the end of October. So let us see what we have done. This is previous week's weekly profile, and you can see how the previous week's weekly profile has taken support right at this green line which was marked at the bottom and the red line which was marked at the top. So if I unmerge these profiles, let us see the profiles from last Thursday to this Wednesday, which was yesterday. So you can see how the first day, which was last Thursday, first day of the new weekly settlement, remained in previous week's range, but it was a double distribution profile to the downside. So we closed below this POC. So it was a case of being more on the downside, the PLR being on the downside. So this was the Mahurat session day, so we can avoid this. And what we did on Monday was leave an initiative selling tail, broke below these lows of Thursday and went below this weekly value area low. So but what we did, I'll just enlarge this chart. What we did, in fact, we were also looking at this chart and we were making same lows not in one but four TPOs. It was like the bank nifty was building a floor and we were expecting this floor to get broken with an extension handle and go lower, breaking this support and go for this HVN tag of 5944. So that is what we were looking for, but that didn't happen when we closed as a B-shape profile. What we did on 5th is same thing. What we did in Nifty futures, we made an attempt to get into this AP rate selling tail, got rejected in the C side, left a failed auction here, and then went on to negate this failed auction with an extension handle. So this 51760 which you see in futures is also an important reference in spot where we have taken support today. So what we have done in Bank Nifty futures is we went on to, you can see the F low is right at this green line which was marked because this was a extension handle, a scene of crime on the weekly chart. So right there we took support and we went on to negate this failed auction which triggered this up move. And once we got this up move, neutral extreme POC shifting to the up. Yesterday, the on the weekly settlement day, Bank Nifty formed a very subdued profile, and you can see why. Why? Because at the open we tested this selling tail and we did not get any fresh demand. So that is the reason we left a very small but important A period tail and we formed a narrow range profile. So what did we need in Bank Nifty? Either we take off this selling tail 52720 with an IB, or we move away from this value on the downside, breaking below this POC, which was at 52358. So that is what happened. And the weekly profile closed as a neutral extreme one to the upside. And let us see what we have done today compared to the weekly profile. So I'll just, so this was the weekly profile which closed yesterday. As in Nifty, we have formed overlapping value in Bank Nifty futures also, and we have stalled right. We have tested both the upside and the downside references. So the Bank Nifty continues to remain in a balance. It continues to remain in a range, and the range on the upside can be marked as this 52704, and the downside is at 51232. So Now, what do we look forward for this week? This POC was our first reference. Below this POC, we would be bearish. Above this POC, we would be bullish. So what we did today compared to previous week was we opened below, moved away from this POC on the downside. But what we have done, we have made a seaside extension here and formed a B-shaped profile. And why have we made a seaside extension and not broken forward? Because this is a neutral extreme VWAP from last week's settlement, which is at 52013. So this will be our important reference for tomorrow and the current weekly settlement. If we break this on an IS signal in order flow, then we are looking for a filling up of this downside zone. So we will look at a test of this HVN of 51520 and this 51400 and then this 51230. So this is what the Bank Nifty futures looks like for tomorrow. Whereas on the upside, we will need to take off this selling tail from today and get back above this 52720 for a tag of this 53,000 level and this all-time highs of 53344. So sorry, September highs of 53344. So this is how we are placed on the weekly. We are in a range, but if we take the weekly references and then uh, cut them into the daily, we still get good trading opportunities which we can make use of. Even though the uh, bigger time frame is a balance, we can still find many good trading opportunities on the smaller time frame. So this is how we are placed in the Bank Nifty futures. This is how we make use of the weekly charts, both in spot as well as futures. The spot chart we have covered in lot of sessions when we have on the Monday 5 p.m. sessions cover up the weekly reviews. So this time we wanted to do the futures, and because the Nifty settlement is done today and Bank Nifty got over yesterday, it was a good time to do a review of the weekly charts. So this is what the weekly is showing up, and based on the weekly we can carry forward the important references and then look at what the market does and the order flow shows in the next session. So just a reminder, in case all of these charts, all of these references are discussed live in the trading room. In the audio session we have daily, and then we also have a running commentary and a discussion which happens between all the traders. So we keep discussing these ideas and levels. So if you want to be part of that, we have the Diwali offer which has been extended, where you are getting a flat 30% off on all plans. So don't miss out. And this offer has been extended till this weekend, the 10th of November. So make use of it. And if you're really serious about taking your trading to another level, definitely this is a golden opportunity to get in a hang of it. So coming back to the chart, so this is what was the weekly setup. Now let us now move on to the line charts. We have covered line charts and how to trade in options using the line charts many times in the YouTube. So I would again want to revisit them. And what we will do is take two examples from last 2 days. So we'll take one example of the 24,200 call option, and this is the line chart. And I hope all of you know how the line charts are brought. If not, I'll just do a quick review. We have the option table in the VTrender chart section, and in the option table we have all the strike prices lined up in the middle column, and on the left we have the call side option links, and on the right we have the put. The middle column has the straddle MP charts and the straddle line charts, and the left side has the MP chart of the calls and the line charts. So by one click from the option table, we can open any of the line charts in the options. So what I've done is opened up the 24,200 call, and this is for yesterday. So you can see these line charts are from 31st of October on screen till the 6th of November, till yesterday's close. So what was happening in this call? Because the market was falling, you can see the open interest was building. This call was being written, and in the line chart you can very easily see this green is the VWAP and the pink is the POC. The option premium was below these two levels almost till all the time, till it started to form this value where the POC shifted to the lows around 78. This was on 4th of November in the afternoon. So this was the first time where it went on to test VWAP. It stayed above the POC, but it was not a clear green candle at the VWAP. So till the time the option remains below VWAP, it will keep attracting the writers. So you can see how this test of VWAP brought in a dip in this open interest, the blue line, but because it was not able to sustain above, it again started to build the open interest to the upside. So we have discussed how we can make use of these POCs and VWAP in the options to take some good uh, low risk trades. So what will be our entry? Our entry would be a good green bar at the VWAP of the option. And whenever that happens, that is a signal that the option writers may be forced to exit. So here on the 5th of November in the afternoon, you can see how I'll just enlarge this chart. So why I had this chart from 31st was to make a note of the POCs. We have also discussed how once we start to get a move to the upside in any option, the probable targets would be the POCs which have been left behind in the line chart. So here you can see this 155 was one POC, 180 was one POC, then 266 was on POC, and then you have 285 and 325, and then we have one at the top which was a 381 and 400, 391. So now if I increase this screen to 5th of November, so you can see this is the place where we have got that clean green bar above VWAP, 128 on 5th of November. So when we are using line charts, it tells us where the writers could get stuck. So once it gets back above the VWAP with a green bar and it sustains, that means that the writers are getting hit. And you can see how once that happened, how the open interest started to fall. You can see the blue line coming down and we kept moving higher. But what happened in between at the close was the POC shifted to the top around here. So this POC of 140 was our reference when we opened yesterday on 6th of November for this option. And you can see at the open, there was some open interest which increased. You can see this green spike. The green spike are telling the open interest is adding. And immediately it got back above VWAP. So it led to these greens. So once the option stays above the VWAP and the POC of a current day, the objective is always to the upside, and you look at the previous POCs as your target. So we had marked the previous POCs, and you can see how those option comes, hits that POC, and then as long as it stays above the VWAP and it is showing responsive buying in the order flow above VWAP, the higher POCs which have been marked out in the line charts would be the probable targets. So you can see how we had hit that, we had marked that 350, 325 POC, and all of them have been hit. So the same option, I would continue to what happened to this option today and how we use look. We need to look when the bullish bias is over in this call. So this was what it closed as tomorrow with the VWAP at 207 and the POC at 180. So as long as it was above this, it was a good it was good for more upside. But once it went below, it would invite sellers. So let us see what happened today and see how the sellers could have made use of the opportunity they had. So I'll just close it on to today's chart. I'll have this intraday only option so that we only have a look at today's chart. And as I mentioned, 190 was the POC, 180 was the POC, and 190 was the VWAP. So with those two levels, once that got broken, this call, the 24,200 call, started to invite writers, and it kept losing premium. And all day it remained below the POC and the VWAP of the current day. So that is how you know when the option writers are piling in and when the option writers could be forced to exit. So you can see this, once we broke this 180 level, which was previous day's POC, and you see how that became the reference. And this once it the highest selling happened at 180, and that was not taken out, and it remained below VWAP all day. Whenever it was coming at VWAP, again it used to get sold, and it is closed at 1. So from this 200 zone, once it broke that previous day's POC and VWAP, this option was a sell side play rather than a buy side. Yesterday it was a buy side play, but today very clearly using the line charts, we can see how it became a sell side play. And you can see how the open interest, you can see only green spikes today throughout. This closing red spikes are only profit booking by the writers. So this is how we make use of the line charts to get both long side trades as well as sell side trades. So let us now have a look at the 24,500 put. And because yesterday the market was bullish, we in fact went on to tag 24,500 in spot. You can see how the open interest started building up yesterday afternoon. And this was still the K period because K was where we made the high yesterday. And you can see these green spikes. So you can, the line charts very clearly show us where the option writers could get stuck. So once the spot could not close about 24,500, it, the POC also you can see had shifted to the lows of 80 yesterday in the afternoon, and that caused some of these open interest to come down, the option writers to come down, because it, the POC shifted lower and there was a bounce to VWAP. So that was clearly getting some late laggard writers to pull out. And today at the open again there was one jump in the open interest, but then once we got back above the POC and VWAP in the opening 15 minutes, you can see the 920 bar, 925 bar was two green bars we got, which closed above the VWAP and the POC. So once that happened, you can see only the OI spike is only red, and we went on to probe higher. And higher, what will be the target? This POC of 205, 260, 315. So we went on to hit 315, but then that Nifty futures, the POC of 24292 was not giving a gate pass. We saw that when we were doing the weekly profile review. So that not giving a gate pass meant this POC was holding, and we could not get to the higher VPOC of 359 and 400. If we would have gotten IS at the 24293 level today, then we would have got these higher objectives, the POCs, the untagged POCs of the 24,500 put. So here very clearly you can see how for both the call and the put, these line charts are very useful to know where the levels are, where the writers are building up, where they are in trouble, and when, if you are an option seller, you can even use these charts to see where you can get into sell side place. So that is how we use these option line charts, and we recommend you also make use of this. All of these features are available in the weekend chart section, and everything is one click from this option table. So we have the gamma 0 level here marked, we have the gamma wall range, and as per the gamma wall range we can look at going long in the particular call or the put. And on settlement days we can see based on the gamma 0 level if there is any chance of uh, any option writers getting hit. If we come to today's gamma 0, it was at 24,200. And let me open a line chart of the 24,200 straddle, and you can see how there was no chance today. Shai had also posted on X about this, that there was a pin effect of 24,200 in Nifty spot. And you can see how the open interest kept on building, and it went on huge reference of 33 lakhs. So this is huge. So this kind of volume when is come in a straddle, you can very well expect that the spot will close around that level. So this is the reason the option market is so strong, and especially on settlement days, the option market is what controls the uh, futures market. So you can see how it kept on building green spikes all through, and later in the close it was only profit booking. So from a open of 200, the straddle writers got it down to 1. So this is how we can make use of even the straddle charts and see. We can even watch the VWAP and POC of the straddle charts. And once we get a move above the VWAP in the straddle, that means one of the call or the put is giving us a Dukan trade. So we can shift on to that particular option and then look for a good favorable trade in long on the long side in that. So similar thing happened in Bank Nifty yesterday. Yesterday, that is the reason we had a subdued weekly settlement, and we closed around that gamma zero level in Bank Nifty, and the same thing happened today. So, and coming back to the options table, this is how we make use of the straddle. You can also have a market profile chart open from the profile chart, and that also will give us this sign how we have made a move away from previous day's POC. So if we were short in this straddle, this VWAP of previous day 267 would be our stop loss. And we went on to make lower lows on all TPOs. This was a perfect trend day down, and you can see the POC shifting right to the lows at the close. So this is what is the pin effect, which was mentioned by Shai also. And what is the pin effect? Once you get so much of volumes at that gamma zero level, which is seen in this spectrum charts, we have this NTM OI, and the spectrum is also mentioned in the option table, which I mentioned. So you can see how this 24200, the gamma zero level, the gamma zero reference was at 24200, and how these straddle open interest confirm that this is going to get pinned. The option writers are pinning today's settlement at this level. So that is what happened today, and that is what we look for, especially on expiry days. When we watch this gamma zero and see how the open interest is building using the line charts in that particular strikes, and then make use of. Once we see that the open interest is so much adding up at that level, we know that the auction may not move, which is why after the initial move we got in the first hour today, Nifty futures hardly gave us any signals. And we were also watching that open interest build in the 24200 straddle, both the put and the call. So there was no reason for us to look for any big move. So even if you open the individual line charts of the put and the call, you can see the open interest kept rising and how we remained below the VWAP. Here there was one move higher, but then the option writers came back strongly and held on to this to build it lower. So this open interest never stopped falling in the put, and even on the call. On the put side, the open interest went on to hit 16 lakh 50,000 contracts, and on the call side it went on to clock 17,800 contracts. So you can see how right from the open it remained below VWAP all the time, and the open interest kept adding. So this is how we make use of these line charts. Any option, both in Nifty futures as well as Bank Nifty, you can see what the option writers are doing, what the big players are doing, and what are the references which will force them to change their position or adjust their positions. So that is it from my side for today, guys. Hope these sessions are helping you guys to get better and better, and that is our aim. And that is the reason we have these sessions, 2 sessions every week, Monday and Thursday 5 p.m. And then we also have lot of material on our website. We have these daily reports which go out. We also have a basic e-course for beginners who can go in for the e-course. And then we have the mentoring room where all of us trade together looking at these charts. We have an awesome setup. We have the market profile chart, we have the order flow charts, and we have this option suite. So we have a lethal combination which we make use of, and we hunt in packs. So if you want to be part of any of these features, only the chart section or the Wheatrender mentoring room, this is the right time. The Diwali offer, as I mentioned, is on till the 10th of November. So make use of it, and you have a flat 30% off on all plans. So this will be the best time to join in. So thank you guys for joining in. If you have any queries, please feel free to post or DM me on X. My ID is Atuttam Goel. And thanks for joining in again, once again. And let's have a great evening and look forward for some good trading setups tomorrow and make use of these features which we discussed today.